What would you say to me? What would you say to me, Brian Last, if I was to tell you that I fast-forwarded Sasha and Bayley?
I would say that you missed the best thing on the show.
Well, then I won't tell you that because I didn't. But I didn't miss the best thing on the show. Let me editorialize first. I am not being anti-women's wrestling or feminist, or, well, not feminist, sexist, against femininity, or whatever the case. I like the athleticism of the top girls' matches. Whether it was Rhea Ripley and Charlotte who stole the show at WrestleMania by being the only ones to just try to put on an athletic performance and being able to do so rather than all the other gaga with no fans in the crowd. I loved Ronda Rousey's debut because it was a classically laid out pro wrestling match. We talked about that. I have loved other things that Rhea Ripley has done with some. The point is, when you have women who don't look like they would break in half, and their perfect blonde hair and their surgical accents, if they were engaging in a legitimate physical contest, and that they have the ability, either they have the legitimate skills or they have the ability to work those skills and make you believe they're having a hand-to-hand physical conflict, I'm all about that. But for the greater good of the whole business and everybody in it, male and female, it is completely ridiculous that we are watching women go out there and do cage matches with chairs and Pillmanizing the girl's neck and fucking weapons and kendo sticks and stairs and chairs and, brick sticks, pots, pans, and tin cans. It's completely ridiculous that we are expected to believe that, okay, if the girls can withstand this stuff, then the guys can never sell it again. So the guys have to do something even worse and even more extreme because they've already seen the girls take this. So therefore, I'm 275 pounds. I've got to fucking take a flat back bump to the floor off the goddamn roof of the cage. And then pretty soon, everybody's fucking paralyzed. So I love Bayley as a worker. Her heel promos are great. As a matter of fact, I noted that I think after her wrestling days are over, and sooner or later everybody's are, I'm not rushing her to retire, they should make her a manager. Because what do a lot of the girls have in common that get over there? They look good and they can do whatever they need to do in the ring, but they still aren't that great on the microphone. Why has there not ever been a top girl that has transitioned to becoming a fucking top manager for the next generation of women? Bayley could do that. Her promos are great. She knows how to work. She's not physically impressive like Rhea Ripley, just like fucking Bobby Eaton wasn't physically impressive like Sid. I'm sorry to equate Ripley and Sid there. But she can work. She's a good heel. She was a good baby face. She's got a good mind, apparently, for having matches. Whenever I've seen her have a match, not what this was. So I'm high on Bayley. And I wouldn't have liked this match if the guys had it. Because it's just fucking gotten too ridiculous. To the point where by the time, and we'll talk about it in a little while, by the time Orton and McIntyre get it, they didn't even bother to use the ring. or to McIntyre, because now you've already had, this is the second cage match tonight. You're going to have another one. The girls are in the fucking cage. 130-pound fucking women. And there's more furniture and devices than at a Home Depot that's hidden, secreted under the ring. So when Bayley comes in and brings in the chair and Sasha Banks drop kicks it out and Bayley is freaking out, oh my God, damn, like that was the last chair in the world. That was the last bullet for her gun, and here comes the zombies. And then within 10 minutes, they pulled the entire Home Depot out from under the ring. Within 90 seconds of this thing, they were out on the floor with a kendo stick. And then multiple kendo sticks. And then Sasha Banks pulled out a table. And Bayley had to sell while she set the table up. But then Bayley stops her and starts taking it down. Because then they have a tug of war over the table. They're wanting to set up a takeoff ramp. So they have to set it up, then take it halfway down, then fucking position it. Then Sasha Banks uses it as a takeoff ramp. And then Sasha Banks tosses in 2 more chairs. That's when I was like, well, why the fuck did Bayley give a shit that much about the one she just lost? They're taking bumps on the floor, into the cage, into the steps, the metal steps. This is the second cage match. I'm not trying to pick everything apart, but they did not have even Hell in a Cell matches like this until the recent few years when they lost the plot on this too. So I'm not trying to just take the piss out of everything, but my God, if this is what they're going to do, no wonder nobody's watching. Second cage match on a show, by the way, with no blood. It would soon become the third cage, 3 cage matches with no blood. It's like a low-fat Twinkie. If you can't eat the fat, don't eat the fucking Twinkie. If you're going to have a cage match and you don't have blood, don't have the fucking cage match. My God, they are literally risking a paralyzation with all this shit they're doing with this furniture that doesn't work with each other, and they can't just get a little color. If you asked me, and I was not noted for my propensity for bleeding like Abdullah the Butcher, but I would have got juice every night instead of doing any of the things that these guys are doing these days, taking bumps through this furniture, and they have 3 cage matches and no fucking blood. Girls are being thrown into the fucking steel structure that's supposed to be the most dangerous, unforgiving hell it's ever been no blood. They set up a spot where they tried to suplex each other through kendo sticks that were propped between the cage and the steps. And then they foiled that so that the one girl boomeranged the other one through the kendo sticks. The old Al Costello fucking Fabulous Kangaroos boomerang. That's when I wouldn't like a guy having this fucking match. Girls is ridiculous. And knock him all you want to, but before Vince McMahon lost his mind, there would not have been a girls match like this on the fucking program in the Attitude Era. I don't think he would have gone this far in the Attitude Era. As soon as you mentioned the idea of okay, Vince, and then the girls are going to bridge a table between 2 chairs, get another chair, come off with the kendo stick, he would have had you drug tested. Then they did the deal where they stuck the chair in the corner and Sasha Banks got power bombed the back of her head into the fucking chair, which was less than that retired Sting. Seth Rollins gave him a buckle bomb. Sorry, neck, done. This girl was power bombed with momentum the back of her head into a fucking metal chair in the corner. And it's a girl. And it didn't knock her out in a shoot or a work way. These matches have gone from grudge fights to nonsensical stunt shows with furniture. Nobody would actually use any of these objects in these ways. Brian, you've seen street fights and grudge matches and old Tennessee brawls from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. When did they start, instead of just, there's a table sitting there and we accidentally fell through it, or there's a chair, pick it up and hit somebody with it? When did they start building pyramids and structures while the fucking guy has to lay there and sell?
ECW.
So well, that's another reason why that shit needs to be fucking buried and forgotten. Because it's fucking stupid. If a guy quits beating on me long enough to fucking set 3 or 4 chairs up and a table across it so he can try to put me on it, I'm just going to kick him in the balls. Which is what would have happened in every other... I guarantee you, everybody I got into business with, every big star that I ever came in contact with, if you tried to leave them selling for 45 seconds or a minute while you set up some furniture, they'd be on top of you, beating your ass and cuss you out in the locker room for burying them like that. Anyway, so then Bayley got duct tape and taped 2 kendo sticks together, and this took forever because she couldn't get the fucking tape unspooled. And she's biting it, and she's picking at it. And so basically, at the point where she's trying to pick apart the duct tape, I decided if they were just going to stop the whole goddamn pretense of having a match to do the shop class projects, I was fast-forwarding to the finish. So I fast-forwarded, and I stopped when there were 2 chairs in the ring and a step ladder bridging them already set up, and Bayley face-busted Sasha Banks face first into the ladder. Looked pretty good. So, of course, that couldn't be the finish because she's got to put Sasha Banks on the ladder. And Sasha Banks had to lay there. I timed it with the second hand on my watch, 45 seconds, while Bayley spray paints a fucking X on her. Like X marks the spot. So now after all this, they have to fucking be funny right before the finish. So X marks the spot. You're laying on the table. Just stay there. I'm going to get this chair and climb up to the top rope. And then when Bayley comes off, guess what? Who could have imagined? Sasha moves. Bayley with the chair hits the ladder. Boom. And that should have knocked her goofy, right? And then Sasha Banks runs and gives her the double knee, the Meteora, into the fucking buckle. And then grabs Bayley and gives her a belly-to-belly suplex onto the fucking metal ladder. Which I would once again rather give me a blade, I will get some color. I ain't taking that fucking bump. That's fucking stupid. Cover. 2 count. At that point, I wanted to make absolutely sure I saw no more whatsoever of this, so I fast-forwarded it until I saw the Hurt Business on the screen. Are we all surprised that everybody is fucking having surgery? That everybody is fucking hurt or injured or wearing braces or booking is disrupted or... nobody has a career until they're fucking 40. Girls. Oh, golly, if only me coming off the top rope and splashing a metal chair onto a fucking stepladder, being hit with a double fucking Meteora and belly-to-belly suplexed on the ladder. Thank goodness I was able to kick out at what was the fucking finish? A machine gun or a machete?
She put her in her submission hold. I don't know exactly what the name of it is. And then she also put a chair around Bayley's neck and started slamming her into the chair while in the submission hold, and Bayley gave up.
So you can call me sexist or misogynist or whatever all you want, but for the greater good of the business, for fuck's sake. None of the girls should be allowed to do any of this, and very few of the guys.
Well, that's what I was going to say. To me, it's not even about the issue of girls doing it. It's, like you said, everyone's getting injured. Everyone's getting stupid injuries because it's happening from stupid stuff that shouldn't be done. I think that's the bigger issue than the fact that the girls were doing it. Because these two were actually over. unlike everyone else.
Well, but here's the, God damn it, I'm sorry, but let's just fucking, facts are facts. And Ronda Rousey was an anomaly, but even Charlotte, even Becky Lynch, they may sell the goddamn merchandise, but the meat of this matter is the fucking guys. And they've got their problems there because they don't have a champion. They had a champion when they had Brock Lesnar. Now they've got people that switch 2 belts around amongst each other. Brock Lesnar was the only fucking star they had because everybody knew he was the champion and everybody knew he was the guy. Now they've got people on the roster competing for 2 different titles. But the point is, the guys are the meat of the matter. And the guys are always going to be the backbone of this thing. And if there's going to be ridiculous risk taken and massive punishment dished out, it needs to be in the main events among the top guys. Doesn't even need to be allowed amongst the underneath guys, the middle card guys. This is fucking ludicrous. And that's why nobody gives a shit anymore, because this is every fucking match. And it started not only with that ECW horse shit, but also the goddamn Attitude Era 90s when both the WWF and WCW, the toy companies, started putting folding chairs and toilet plungers and fucking garbage cans in the goddamn action figures. Like that is somehow supposed to be a part of wrestling. And these marks that have come along, that have gotten to business, and they are marks. They're complete marks that you can't smarten up, that have gotten into business and call themselves wrestlers, think that this is somehow what's supposed to be going on a regular basis instead of the ultimate blow off every once in a while. And that's why they're all getting injured more frequently, more seriously, and have shorter careers. And most of them still make less money. Because unless you get the goddamn WWE spot, you're not making as much money as a lot of the guys were, adjusted for fucking modern dollars in the territories for risking your fucking neck every night. Anyway, please go ahead and tell me your thoughts on the match now that I've completely shit all over it.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but with that said, I think it was the best thing on the whole show. It says a lot about the rest of the show. You know, Bayley, I like both Bayley and Sasha Banks, and I think they both carry themselves like stars. I will say I do think there is some legitimacy to what you said about Sasha's size. She's a very slim, slender girl in there doing all this overly physical stuff, and in this match with weapons and everything else, that it is a little weird sometimes to see her. And like, you know, when she wrestled Charlotte was so much bigger than her. But this is the fantastic world of professional wrestling where size doesn't matter.
Well, that's what she said.
I don't have too much more I can add to it. I thought it was the best thing on the show. I don't disagree with everything you said, but I still think it was the most enjoyable thing on this entire show, from the beginning to the end.
Maybe I shouldn't have disagreed with you, because if you just make that statement, it was the best thing on this show, we're both right.